this is a different perspective. I can really see you, like right here in my face.
It's kind of like
So-
coaching days. Let's go.
You want to think back there?
I know,
Let's
right?
talk about that. Which Tuesday I found very enjoyable as well. Can you? Are we
Yep,
in
we're
frame?
good.
Perfect. Okay. So those of you that weren't able to make it last night, like that was really cool. So we got 2 awards, one for America's Home Preferred Warranty and for Gross Commission Income. So we were the top 3, one of the top 3 teams in the Market Center to be awarded with this enormous award. So I got to go up and accept it for you all. It was very exciting. Really cool, good energy. Hi.
Good morning.
So it was really, really cool and enjoyable and good energy and all that.
Sorry guys, I'm late. Everybody put the
That's okay. You're good.
What?
You'll leave before what?
The contractors.
Oh.
So we were just doing a little recap of last night.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it was really, it was great. We knew at Family Reunion that we had done and accomplished that goal because we had the luxury of walking around with medals around our necks, which is really cool. Haven't done that since, I don't know, the 80s. But,
You were alive then?
I was healthy and a really good So, yeah, believe it or not, yeah, so,
I know.
though, however, I did not realize that we were going to be honored beyond that. So, congratulations to you all, newer and more seasoned. Like that was a group effort, and it shows that potential is there, that ability is there, and you all are better agents than you were a year ago. You know, like for those of you that have been around and soon to be.
Well, I wasn't 1 year ago, so I guess I am a better agent.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
right.
Oh, girl, you learned a lot with these crazy men you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Oh, is that for them still?
Yes.
Is that for
No, actually, the offer was rejected this morning, so.
Little Ball
yeah.
Express?
Yeah.
At least they signed it. She knew it, though.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know.
you know what? It was definitely very good. So one.
Practice makes perfect.
Oh, I have
Yes.
a fantastic lowball story for you if you want. Like, my Normandy listing in Bay, this agent and the buyer just keep circling. They keep circling, waiting for them to just come down to their lowball. They were one of the first offers that came in on the house. It was when it was listed for I think $219. They
Yeah,
came
it
in
was
at
still
175. And they're like, 170 what? We're like, no.
Yeah.
And a couple needs where they need to be, and where the house honestly could, anywhere over 185. And we keep telling them that, and they're like, oh, she's not gonna, these buyers aren't coming up to 185. They're just not going to. And your people need to understand that this house has this wrong with it, this wrong with it, and this. It's like,
You need to understand.
yeah,
You
I
need
know.
to
I love
understand.
it. That's the new phrase I keep hearing from people. You need to understand. And
So-
you're the person to tell me what I
Before you
need to
go
understand.
further with that, so how does that sound when somebody says to you, you need to do this, you need to understand, you need to see it this way? How does that feel when you hear that?
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
And they're
It
trying to
doesn't
down
sound
to
like
you.
they're trying to work together.
Yeah,
Right.
so
It doesn't sound like a
a
win-win.
perfect
Right.
example of that would be is like, don't show up that way.
Right.
So I used to work with somebody that used to say, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I said, and you need to change your dialogue because you're starting to piss me off. And I called it right out.
Absolutely.
I was like, don't, that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
I don't talk to you that way, you don't talk to me that way. So you don't want to come off as being like hard to deal with, but at the same time, you teach people how to treat you right, so that would be a perfect way to do that, so.
But listen to the second
Go
part
on.
of this. This
So
is
go on.
good.
Yeah, keep going.
Which one's it?
When she says you don't have to come down in price.
Yeah.
You don't have to, there's no inspections or anything, so
Yeah.
just tell Marty, hey, you don't have to come up with anything else, just, just
Yeah,
175.
it's just 175, no inspections, no, just as is, and we're done.
So they don't have to come down in price.
And I said, wait, when it's sold as is, and we're not doing any repairs, so even
Oh,
if
it's
the
already
inspection
marketed
shows
as
something.
is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's marketed as is. There's a couple projects that they know about, and they're really cosmetic. It's like a vanity in the bathroom, and some ceiling work in the basement, because when they started redoing the bathroom, they did the plumbing, they updated all the plumbing. So when they did that, they did it on the first floor bathroom too, tore out some of the ceiling in the basement, but then never replaced the ceiling in the basement. So it's not from damage or water damage, it's just all cosmetic. So people go in there though, and because the house is a funky layout, because somebody did an addition to a bungalow in Bay Village. So, yeah, they took, instead of having a pointed roof, they made it a flat roof in the back and made some additional rooms and stuff. So the layout's a little funky, but, you know, people want move-in HGTV, blow out the kitchen, because the
I've been hearing
kitchen's,
HGTV quite a bit in the
oh yeah, because
conversations.
the kitchen's smaller and the dining room is big. And because, again, it was a bungalow, now it has all this extra square footage.
Right, and they have the kitchen is like the back
The
wall, like
original,
you
is the
can't,
original
they have a
kitchen.
cutout, but you can't take that out because it's the back wall of the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where the back
Well,
wall
I
used to
tried to explain to my guy, most of it was cosmetic as well.
Yeah.
Like, it had the wood paneling, like, on every wall, like, every room looked like a basement, you know, essentially. And it would have needed new carpet, and it was just all cosmetic stuff. And he said, well, they need to understand that I need to put this amount of money into this, and this amount of money
They
into
don't
this.
care about you.
This amount, so he's deducting from what he's gonna offer.
Yeah,
And he
it's-
said, and that's my justification for offering $8,000 on $39,900. And I said, this was the only time I was gonna do this.
39,900.
With
That's the list price?
Yeah.
Offering
And they have
8,000.
8,000.
Nice.
So I told him,
They offered
I said, we will do it one
20%.
They offered
time,
8,000?
one time.
Almost $40,000
Betty's
property.
face.
See,
So I called the
make it with the
listing
same
agent, they
face.
prepped him, I was like,
Can't be
listen,
serious.
it's not gonna be an impressive offer.
I am serious, you don't call me Cheryl.
Apologize, that is absolutely insane.
The one
And
I
I said,
got,
it's your choice, I said, it's your choice as the investor, as the buyer, to put all that work into it. Right now, market value is saying it is worth
What it
$39,900.
is,
Right.
as it is.
Yeah.
So another thing about paneling, hold your thought, is if you walk into a house that has paneling,
Mhm.
right? So obviously there's something underneath it. Now, if you had to redo all the plaster or the drywall, what kind of a mess is that? Paneling is no mess.
well, and you
Yeah.
can,
Pull it
honestly,
off,
you can either pull it
and
off or
you
you
get
can
rid of
just
it.
paint it and it looks good.
Yeah.
Chip and
Okay.
Joanna made
If I had-
new paint that goes
Exactly,
on
it goes right on paneling.
and it
Joanna.
actually makes it look like shiplap. It's
Hey,
really nice.
My
Yeah.
first
Oh
house,
my
the God, they say whole the word
family room
shit
downstairs
cloud
Love it.
stays on.
Level
They-
Sheet
yeah.
paneling
Totally
was
Shiplap.
dark paneling,
But
like
they're-
dark
yeah.
carpet. Tore up the carpet, painted the paneling, it looked awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like,
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
that because a lot of those houses built at that time.
right.
And especially the little ones,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And
The house I grew up
and
in, my parents
actually,
live in, so
paneling
it's
has got a
paneling.
very smooth finish to it.
Mhm.
You know, it doesn't crack, it doesn't chip, it doesn't anything.
the
So
other houses that have paneling all over the place are anything built by Bob Schmidt.
Yes.
Yeah, the Schmidt.
Yeah.
house, really.
I've lived in 2 Bob Schmidt homes in my life.
Yes.
Paneling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's paneling.
Lots of paneling.
So I just said I grew up, the house my parents still live in that I grew up in is paneling.
Mhm.
There's paneling everywhere.
That was the
Yeah,
thing.
you don't wanna see what my
It's the
parents had on
70s,
their wall.
yep.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was
So,
like floral paneling or some weird pictures on it.
so what else do you have?
But yeah, going back to lowball offers,
Yeah.
and poorly written, the one I got on the townhouse. She came in, it's listed at 175, she came in at 155 with $4,500 in seller concessions. So it's
So yeah,
almost
150.
$25,000,
150, yeah.
150.
150.
And that's
And
priced right, right?
5, it's a little high, but it's not extremely high.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
$25,000.
I think it's gonna sell at about 165 is where I think
Okay.
it's gonna sell. But there was one down the street that's 175 that's been on the market for 200 days. So I wanted to test it and see, because we have all new carpet and neutral paint.
Yeah.
They've got blue, teal, green, and everything else.
Yeah, I love that.
So I wanted to see what was gonna happen.
Right.
And, oh, and a $500 earnest money note.
That's, I'm telling you, the
That's not
notes
your
are
goal.
what's coming on right
Promissory
now.
note is the thing.
I haven't
And-
seen notes since I got licensed, and all of a sudden we're seeing a ton.
Is that allowed?
For
Russell.
$500.
Russell Realty's.
It was
using
Russell. It was a
Century
Russell
21 has it
offer.
too.
Howard Hanna did too, so.
And-
So how do you
And
get
lowball
around?
offers, so you guys,
Well,
we're
they-
seeing a change, obviously, in the
Yeah.
market, big time.
The other thing that not upset me, but got me as a buyer's agent, where I really make sure that I have a good cover letter for my people. And I don't allow people to go in at 25,000 if it's not, if it's way that high, fine, but if it's not, you can't do that. You're not, if you want this house, it's not gonna happen.
So I have a question.
So-
So as an agent,
Mm-hmm.
when you have a client, and this will be very
Buyer.
helpful for
Buyer.
you, buyer, and they want to put in, I'm sorry, I was actually going to reverse it. If you're an agent and you receive a lowball offer, how do you respond to that?
Well, I asked her, well, first of all, she wrote me a letter saying that the reason they lowballed it is this girl wants to do renovations and she wants to rip out a wall.
Sounds familiar.
So
Not
basically,
a problem.
I need to understand that she
Right,
wants to
wrong.
do this. Well,
Eh, right.
that's not why you, that,
It's like
that,
a
That
Doesn't
doesn't have
make
anything to
deed
do with the
buyer for Bay
price.
Village.
yeah,
Same
that
thing.
doesn't make sense
So when somebody
to
searched
me.
that, what would be your
Well,
best use of
I asked her
leveraging
for
this?
comps,
Right,
and you know, she sent me another letter.
and it's that,
Yeah, an email, a note, that, you know, basically, again, they wanted to do renovations, she didn't feel there were any comps in the area, the only thing that sold in this little row of townhouses was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it sold at 149, but it was 4 or 5 years ago.
right?
Which means it should sell for way more now.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
what is your increase? Now, so what you should be very, very well versed on with that, particularly for listings or for buyers either, is what was the rate of property value increase in that area
Mhm.
per year? You factor that in. Now, if you start throwing very tangible things at people, that is like, well, it went up 1.5% every year, so now it's going up and up and up and up. You know, 1% on 100,000 is $1,000. So over a 4 or 5 year period, if it's more than that, which I'm confident it is, now you can support that.
Mhm.
But the people that are doing that, you need to, and they need to understand, and
Right.
you know what, you have to shut that down.
Right.
Because that's not,
You're the professional.
I had somebody once tell me, we're gonna live like homeless people because these appliances are not stainless steel. And I literally looked at them, and they were first time home buyers, they were warm spirit, and I literally went, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding, how does homeless and white appliances end up in the same sentence?
Like, you have appliances.
I
You have a roof
somewhere.
over your head.
Unless you're living in the refrigerator itself.
That could be.
With a
Or the
blanket
box,
or
or the box from the
And it's
refrigerator.
not plugged in.
Right,
Yeah,
so,
not
I mean,
plugged in.
so there, as she mentioned, like, we're seeing a shift and things are changing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think what's gonna be best for you guys to separate yourselves from the herd, however, by the way, which was clearly displayed last night as I'm accepting an award on y'all's behalf, is we're doing something right. You can't assume that everybody else is doing things the way you are doing them. They're not trained the way you are trained. They're not armed with objection handlers the way that you guys are. Stay above that, you know, stick to fact, use tangibles. They go, yeah, but you need to. Yeah, stop. What kind of a professional are you? As is, with the paneling. What you want to do with that is on you. But going in at $8,000, you're just going to make them upset. Just as, you can always, if you're at a stalemate, flip it. Flip it. If you had a $40,000 house and somebody said, I'll give you 8 for it, and you were anticipating getting 40, how would that look to you? How would that show up? Tell me more about that. You know what I mean?
Just
Like,
because they want to do something, they want to do what
Right.
they do.
you know, like, then there's also the element of, like, she mentioned that one of her comps has got like teal green carpet, so I'm gonna do like the devil's advocate
Right.
thing, okay? So you price according to that. Talk about staying in curiosity, ladies and gentlemen, right? So there may be somebody that teal is their favorite color and they just found their dream house with teal carpet.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? So you want
Exactly.
you want to make sure that you can go with tangibles and not necessarily opinion or preferences, because it doesn't appeal to anybody. Example, Christian and I met with an investor yesterday. He moved here from California. He wants to start buying properties and flipping them. So he says to the two of us, I need a house that's got some wow to it. And I said, so tell me
What does that mean?
Exactly.
And this is
So I
not
said-
even the market you should do that.
So I said,
What's
so
wow?
I said, well, what do you mean by wow? I said, how does wow look to you?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good.
And he said, well, my house that I bought is on the hill in Euclid Reservation, that's English Tudor, and there's chair rails, and, you know, there's wood, big thick molding, and he went into this whole thing of what wow is. And I was like, that's great, I'm so glad I asked. Because for me, wow is like an 18-foot glass wall that's in my house, that is butting up to woods, that has no neighbors over
Wow's
one
different
story.
for
Like,
everybody.
that's wow
Wow's
to me.
different,
So
right.
I wanted to be very, very clear on what your wow was.
And that's
so that
not
we-
Euclid, Cleveland, right?
No way. And so he kind of was like, oh, like that didn't appeal to him. And he made it very clear that he doesn't like that.
But if he's
50s
investing,
modern,
he
whatever.
wants, he wants
the
the
wow factor to buy?
same, he wants the same thing his home is to invest? That's
Exactly.
interesting,
It's very interesting, and,
because it's gonna be a higher price point for investing.
right, and he wants to do most of this on the east side now.
I
because-
thought that same thing, I thought East Side would be.
Yeah, I thought
We're-
Cleveland Heights.
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
the person
So
out there.
Right.
we're,
Cleveland
so we're
Heights.
sitting at a table in a safe environment, because you know we cannot steer our
Even
clients.
Lakewood, but you're not gonna find that,
Yeah.
you're gonna find the house, but you're not gonna find as what he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
The restaurant part of
So-
it.
He's gonna
then-
have to do work on it to get it.
Well, and then we start talking about neighborhoods, so how do you dodge that?
Mhm.
You've given them a resource. So
Yeah,
Christian
right.
and I sent him over that Cleveland.com that has a grid
Right.
that's got every city, the school systems, the
Everything.
taxes, average home price, days on, like all of that stuff here. Now you tell us where you want us to look. We said, I said, if we can make a suggestion, leave your mind open to both sides of the river. Like Cleveland has a lot of different, areas and places that you may go to find what you're looking for, because he was of a certain ethnic background and wanted to be strictly in that area. And is not afraid to go to places like some of the more compromised neighborhoods, because like, if I can just buy them cheap and flip them, I don't care. And I'm like, I can understand that, but as a professional, I want to tell you that you're not going to get as much of a return in a neighborhood that is in distress.
Yeah, right.
Just because you buy it cheap and make it beautiful.
And it
it's
might
gonna-
sit
But
forever.
buy it cheap and make it beautiful, so it'll
They're
different than wow.
vandalized.
Than wow,
Right.
being wow factor.
Well,
Well,
and you're
so-
gonna end up the best,
You
the
make
best
it the
house
wow
in the
factor.
block
Yeah, he's
that
gonna make it
it's.
wow.
Now, is that not,
So,
is that clearly not the golden rule of real estate?
Right.
Buy the biggest, most expensive house in the cheapest neighborhood, wrong. It's
Right.
completely the opposite. So the reason I'm bringing this up is you've got clients that are gonna come in with like this preconceived that this is how they wanna do it. It is our responsibility to say, I understand your view, but if I may, yeah, you're completely off the mark. You're not going to achieve what you're looking for. We're gonna
It's our
fail
job to
you,
educate them.
you're gonna be upset, and this isn't going to work. So we have to give you the GPS that will get you from point A to point B. We're not just gonna get in the car and wing it with a compass and go, well, we gotta make it to the lake, so we're just gonna go north. No, you have to know where you're going. So it was quite an uncovering, and I'm glad that it was two of us.
You can find some cool houses in Rocky River with some of that wow factor too.
Well,
He's not gonna probably wanna spend the
But
price
not the
though.
price.
yeah, so, and then, so.
Although you might find some, like,
You may in West Park too, really.
yeah.
Because
And that you
West
might get a
West
better,
Park, but
Make it a better
the-
price.
over the library district and over off of there,
In
you
Lakewood?
might, no, in
That might.
Rocky
River?
Oh,
Rocky
yeah.
It's
River.
not a tutor though. It's
Okay,
close.
so think about this for a second. So he's an investor.
What's he wanna
Right.
do? Flip 'em?
He wants to flip them. Where would you direct him? If there was somebody that wanted to flip a house, make it nice, and get, a fairly decent return on it,
Gordon Square?
where would you send them? You're saying Gordon Square,
like what kind of
okay?
I've
resource
seen
or what
some of those
location?
houses.
Yeah, are you saying area or
Area,
resource?
area.
Okay,
Where would you send them?
Well, I have been hearing,
Ohio City?
I have been hearing
Right.
like Slavic Village too. I mean,
Yeah. Slavic
Right.
Village was that,
Okay, so Slavic
Well,
Village
yeah.
is on its way up. Slavic Village is very, very small. So once they rehab all
Birdtown?
that, that becomes, right,
Yeah.
right, that becomes,
Birdtown is starting to,
Tremont. Well, think about your Lakewood Market's flooded, right? So
Mhm.
what's next to it? You gotta go somewhere.
The only thing is with like certain areas that you think that that's not for investor to flip. Investor to hold and rent.
Right.
You're gonna get great rents.
Right.
Yeah.
Better
But
in
to
Birdtown.
flip, a lot of
right,
times.
better
right
rent
now,
in Birdtown. I just found
so
a really
hard to
cute
flip
back
if you don't
house
have
in
that.
Birdtown for my son.
So I will
So
tell you that
cute.
Ohio City, because having lived there is, $500,000 brand new construction
Mhm.
and crack houses.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
So you buy the crack house and you
Push
bring it
them
up
out.
to speed, now you have a comparable,
Yeah.
now you're talking about getting a return.
Right,
So
right.
you have to be.
Good morning,
very
Al.
careful. Hi, Al. Good morning.
So
Mark,
that-
if you're
so that
if
group
you're
of
in
people that say they
65th
don't wanna
North
be-
Detroit, what area is that considered?
That's
Detroit
better.
Shoreway.
yeah, Detroit
65th
Shore.
Because one
Which
guy I
way
went
did you
to,
say?
he told me
North.
these houses, they're
Oh,
buying them for
cool.
like 80 to 100 and they're flipping them
Yeah,
selling
that's,
for 300,000.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what they
Yeah, and
consider,
they're
is
all
that what they
square.
consider hidden
That's
gems?
more- that's more
70, you can go up to
square.
70,
29, yeah.
70th, but that's it.
Englishtown is West Wing.
Then it gets really, 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 really bad,
Yeah.
and then it starts to get good again as you get closer.
Because he showed me the house across the
Near-
street,
Near Battery.
he said they flipped it and they got 300,000 in his house, he bought it for like 8 years ago.
Did you look it up?
I was there.
Did
Well,
you?
no, he
Yeah, I
he was
would
pointing
value
out,
that.
this guy was, like, he's done this before, and he goes, that house sold for this house. there's pretty company news there.
Yeah, I would definitely stay in curiosity and
It
check up
doesn't
on
mean he
it.
was telling the truth.
Right,
No.
that's what I'm trying to say.
He wasn't trying to sell me on something.
So were they big, those
Oh.
big old houses, like really big?
Like 3 and 4 stories.
That is Gordon Square.
We sold one over there.
She did.
Up in Detroit is actually
Yeah.
Gordon
Okay, that's what I
Square.
thought.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
actual Gordon Square, and
And
then
then you got Battery Park that
No,
butts
we're
into
still
the
talking,
back of that area
What are you
too,
doing?
so that's all on the.
You know, it's amazing that if you look back, like
Okay,
5
let's
years
do the
ago,
next one.
when Lakewood was just starting to like, people were like, relief properties were like, let's try to sell this house for 300,000-400,000, and all of a sudden they're starting to get it. And you're actually watching them change.
So
and that's what people are looking for. That's
So
what
as
this
you, right,
investors
so as you
What's
blaze
that
the
next
trail
neighborhood? What's it?
with your property, okay, so property values are going up, clearly.
Right.
So what determines that?
Well, people
Some
You'll
What
find
people are
yourselves-
willing to pay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
As long as they're
find
paying cash.
properties that you, and you have to leverage this as agents. You have to figure out a way to promote that value and explain to them, like, you might be buying at the top of the market. What's the benefit of buying at the top of the market?
And you're the comparable.
Right, what happens next?
Your
Well, most likely the
value
market
goes
keeps
up.
raising because everybody
Your
else starts
equity
buying.
goes
So
up because
consider-
your value goes up.
If the highest priced house on West 111th is 200, and they buy at 200, if another house on that street sells and you plan on staying there for a while, now you set the bar at 200, so now this person gets 215, then it goes to 225, and now you're at 250, and so now if you're gonna stay, there's a potential value for buying at the top of the market. You have to be very, very careful, because you can never say to somebody, oh,
This
in
is what's
5
gonna
years, this is what it's gonna be, because they'll hold you
You don't
accountable
know.
to it.
It's a risk you're taking, and
But
it's an
you also-
investment.
It's an investment.
But if they love the house and you're in a stalemate over $4,000 or $5,000 on whether or not to purchase it or not, you might want to lob that up and say, you notice that they just did Edgewater Park and Clifton Boulevard has a grass median, and they put in a brand new Starbucks, and that Lucky's grocery store is going in right on the corner, this is your neighborhood. Like, you know, you may want to consider just, you know, like, investing that additional amount of money if you're going to stay here, and there's a good chance when you're ready to go, you will get that and then some.
I find that interesting, even in my little condo complex. I bought mine for 70. There's a couple that were bought for like 60, right around the same time I bought mine.
There's some that went for 90.
That one went for 90, it was a flip, went for 90, and did a terrible job, those poor people have had to do all kinds of work, but it went for 90.
Mhm.
3 more have gone for 90 cents. One, the woman just moved in, it went in 2 days at asking, and she went in, she's doing all kinds of work.
How much was it? When you're talking?
89.7, I think, so
So
it was
she'll
right.
go in,
so-
and she'll make it really nice and stay there for a while.
And it was
Just keep
very
climbing
nice
up.
to begin with, but she went in, she didn't like the hardwood floor, the laminate floor, so she wanted carpet, she's doing all kinds of work, but I'm like, oh my God, she paid full price for that.
So what-
I had a client who lost out to one of those because at the time, she's like, they're asking way too much money. Nothing in here is that price, so we lost out.
So do you ever add to your dialogue, the house is only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it?
Yeah.
All the time.
Okay, so that should be very common dialogue.
And depending on if it's cash or a loan.
Right.
Sometimes if somebody's willing to pay for it, but there's no comparables, unless the dream team is the listing agent, they may not get it.
Right.
Right,
Well, and
right.
then also too, when somebody tries to your point, they try to lowball because it's cash, you might want to add to your arsenal as well. The seller doesn't care where the check comes from.
No.
It
Because
comes
to them
out of
it's
your bank
cash.
account, or it
Yeah.
comes from a title
So,
company.
I can't stand when
But
people
they don't
say
care.
that.
So,
Cash
there-
is not necessarily king.
No.
well, there are some advantages to using cash, and
Oh,
you don't
absolutely.
want to put that out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want them to use that as the strong arm to get you to throw in an $8,000 offer on a
But
$40,000 house.
for the buyer, it isn't really a benefit to pay cash as much as it is for a seller, for a buyer coming in.
Right.
Only because if they are either overpriced or where they need a lot of work,
Right.
where an FHA.
Right, because
or an
FHA
Because otherwise,
or-
if you have
yeah.
a great house in a great area, you know it's gonna appraise and everything, their cash doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But how do you put that in the buyer's head? Because those are the people that I get. They're like, but I'm gonna pay cash, but I'm gonna pay cash.
Doesn't
Well,
work.
that's exactly what we're saying. So we'll reiterate, because I know that you and I have talked about this. That's where you say, that's great. However, the house is priced at market value, and The seller does not care where that check comes from, if it comes out of your bank account or it comes from a title company. They're still
Because
collecting
to
the
them,
same
it's
amount of
still
money.
cash to
They're
them.
collecting the same amount regardless.
So-
And
of
if,
it's
and
cash
if
or
they're,
not.
if they're arguing with you honestly about the amount, pull up trend graphics and show them, look, and you can get really specific. If you've got a certain area and they're only looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like, put that in and pull up what those houses are selling at and how fast they're selling it and what percentage of list to sale price they're
And we
selling at.
can, well, that's been a challenge for you because people have that preconceived, so.
And Mark and I talked about this when I had an agent tell me once, because they were, oh, it's a cash offer, and it's gonna save you, what, thousands on closing costs? Is that, yeah, it's something like that, it's gonna save you over 1,000 in close, I was like, how does that work? I said, can you
It
explain
doesn't
that?
close-
I just said,
it
can you
doesn't
explain
save-
that?
It doesn't save the buyer
It
or the
doesn't-
seller.
It doesn't save anybody any money on closing costs.
It
She was trying to
would-
tell me
It would save the buyer, but not the seller, because they don't have the bank fees.
Right, the buyer doesn't have the loan costs.
Yeah.
They're trying to tell me
Built
I
in.
was representing the seller.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
gonna
not
save
gonna
you
matter.
thousands in closing costs. I was
No,
like,
it's
can you
not. It's the
explain that
same
more?
thing.
I said, can you explain that more? And they couldn't.
So
They just
wouldn't
said
it
it
be very
did.
important
So I
for
called
you
title and said, hey,
find out how it works?
hey, your review, how does that work if I'm being told I'm being, it's gonna, no, it might save $20 in like some kind of, in a fee.
So what would
but
you do
Not
next?
thousands.
What would you do next?
Call back that agent, have them explain a little bit better as to where they were getting their
To the
number.
title company's name, you know,
Yeah, because you know
title
what?
company.
To be honest with you, it could be, you gotta remember too, it may not always be the buyer saying anything. Maybe an
Right.
uneducated seller, or the agent. Because a lot of times our sellers will get upset at the buyer when really it's not the buyer. They may not be
Agent.
educated
Right.
the way they should, and
Well,
Chris
and-
and I- That's where Chris and I are.
And to her point, like, she already disclosed, like, I know this offer's gonna make you happy. I know
Right.
it is.
yeah.
Like, and this is not my professional.
And I would have
experience.
rather had that on the townhouse, coming with the $25,000 lowball,
Mhm.
instead of, well, you have to understand, we want to move walls.
So how would you go about doing that, which I don't recommend in every situation, so you've got to be very careful. This is our opening offer. That's kind of a nice, kind way of saying, please counter me. I
Right,
did
well,
everything I could
Marty
to
had
try to
that
do
one,
something.
please counter, please don't just send me a text and say, I would have rather had something like
Right.
that, and I don't
Just
do a
please
whole lot
counter.
of
I'm gonna
listings,
send
but I was
this
like,
over.
Yeah,
this is just not even cool.
Well,
I
and the
would
guy
tell the
that she
agent,
did
you know,
her,
my
that she's
seller's
doing that
ready
deal
to
with is
back
Gary
away from this,
from
so
Howard
either
Hanna,
come in high
and I've done like
or
3
he's
deals
not
with
gonna do
him,
business.
and he's
Done.
very, he's been an agent for, he's a dinosaur. So, he's the nicest
That's
guy
one of the
ever.
problems.
Right,
Yeah.
well, no, but he's one of those, like, the offer I submitted to him, I told him, I hate this offer, but I'm doing it for my client. He goes, thank you for telling me that, and he came back, he goes, so I told my client you hate this offer, but that it was a fair offer to me. He goes, so I made him take it. He goes, because you told me
Leverage.
that
Oh,
up
that's
front.
You
Yeah,
leverage the
so
call.
so that's why I
You
said
can do
for her
that.
to call Gary, I told her, call him, tell him what the offer's like up front, and say, counter it if you have to. I'm already aware of how I feel about this offer, and I've already informed my
He was
client of
nice.
that. Yeah, he's
And it's
very
okay anyway.
nice.
Well, and
Well,
so when
he
you,
declined it, but the point is,
Oh, he
is
did
that,
decline.
Hers
yeah,
got declined.
yeah, so the
It
point
was
is
bad.
that Gary is a reasonable guy, like, if you let him know up front, he's been doing this a really long time, he knows that clients make you put in offers you hate to do, you know what I
Right.
mean?
well, in
So-
some cases, you can actually help leverage the co-broke.
Right.
Right.
On a listing that's overpriced, by them saying, we have to lower it, we have to lower it, we have to lower it. Sometimes in an effort to get it sold, you can
Right.
do this if you are on the listing side and vice versa. So now they everyone keeps saying, I can get it out, it's too high, it's too high, it's too high. The co-broke can go back to the client and say, see, it's too high, I'm trying to tell you. And, which is exactly what happened then. So if you get a low ball offer and you have a listing, what do you do? Yep.
Well, I asked why.
What do I do for my client, or what do I do?
You get a low ball offer, what's the next thing that you do?
You have to present it to
Present
the
Present it to your
client.
client.
Then what?
You gotta present it.
Okay, now, I'll walk you through it. So now they're pissed. They're all the way angry.
No,
This is
because their house
ridiculous, this
over-
is
is
ridiculous, I'm
overpriced.
insulted. So what do you
I'd
do
call the
next?
co-broke, I'd let him know, I gotta be honest with you. My job is to hold this together, but my client is almost to the point where he wants to just tell you to go somewhere else.
Okay.
That's the nicest way I can say it. So I would recommend either coming back with a more respectful offer, or according to my client, we won't be doing any
I
business.
do like that. That's
Mhm.
that's
More
great, that's a
respectful
great
offer.
option.
Actually documented
I did
though.
that.
That's,
Like,
it can be a verbal conversation, however, counter. Always, always,
Always
always,
counter,
always
yeah.
counter,
Yeah.
always counter. They're gonna be, like, I'm not dealing with that, I'm not dealing with them, I'm not doing anything to,
Yeah.
like, counter back at asking price.
That's what a
Like,
family reunion, my son said.
Mhm.
Because I mean, on my 2 listings that I have, I've been getting lowball offers. And the one was from an agent that, yeah, I almost said it, I'm not gonna say it.
Right.
But I'm like, where did they come up with this? You need to go back to your seller, or buyer, and ask them to explain, give me a letter to give to the sellers, like why they're coming in like this. I never got a letter, number one. But even the one for Sunset, they're like, use silence. He messages back, silence, give them silence, instead of countering. Because that's what, if you're working with the buyer, I mean, it's good that we get this on our listings, because then we can work with the buyers, our buyers, of how to educate them.
Right.
Because they're gonna get, they might get silence, or they might get, like, we ended up going back at full asking price. Hey, okay, this is our counter, full asking price.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're not wanting to work.
Well, and
know, it's
better
like-
than that is you're gonna have clients that are going to, that you're gonna advise them as a professional, well-read, all of your arsenal is in order, and they're gonna say, do it anyway. And you have to service your client. So by turning around, if you receive one of those and you go back at full asking price, the co-bro can then go, see, it was priced right. That, unfortunately, we didn't insult them, and they just turned their head and walked away from it, so now we need to regroup. Because I've seen more situations of my own where they did that, and I went back at $1 less than asking price.
Yeah.
Like literally, $1.
$1.
Like blah, 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 oh,
That's
one.
awesome.
I would go for
Mine's
It's
like-
better than going all the way to full asking, it's just
Yeah,
$1
like
off.
Yeah.
Mine was
Come
listed
on.
for $319.9,
Okay.
and the offer was like $224 or something like that.
Oh, hell no.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's why the seller's like,
Wow.
silence. I'm like, no, let's just at least counter. And then, I mean, and I had several, at that time I was getting tons, all of a sudden getting a ton of activity. So of course, the seller's like, I'm getting all this activity, forget it. And we have it under contract a week later
So
from another offer from that same weekend.
So somebody's offended, so they get emotional. And I had somebody say, I'm not gonna put you through all that to counter back, like tell them to, we won't use the choice words that they used. And I simply said, it's just a phone call. You don't have to write anything up, you don't have to sign anything at all. It's just a phone call. If we're gonna make it go away, let's stay in curiosity.
Let's
It seems
address
to be the theme today. Let's see if maybe they were just trying to do that. They may have a pile of money and they're just gonna try to see if they can play some
Get a discount.
80s, 90s
Yeah.
game
Right.
where you used to price it up here and you go in here and you wiggle, 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 and you end up in the middle, which those days are gone. When list of sale price was 86%, not 99.2.
Right.
So whatever that is, like, it's just a phone call. Like, I understand you're upset, as am I. Stay on their side.
Right.
I'm wildly insulted by this, but let's take the emotion out of it. And if I can make a phone call and counter back at full asking price, if they go away, they go away. But there's always that opportunity that maybe they will wake up and realize, maybe it shouldn't go away, and we may be able to work something out. Make sense? Yes?
Yep, I have still. I had a condo for sale a few years ago. He actually bought it. 6 months later, realized he didn't like the area. It was kind of a weird thing, good for me, I guess, because I got 2 sales out of it.
Yay.
He paid $113 for it. He was originally wanting to go up in prices as well. He just paid $113 6 months. There's no justification for an increase. The market hasn't changed in this area. Offer comes in at like 99. I called the agent back. I says he just paid 113 and just realized he wasn't as comfortable in this
I
area.
remember
I
this.
said you're gonna have to come back with full asking or he's not buying. But okay, I'll have you a full ask price in the morning.
There it is.
Yeah.
He goes, my guy just asked me to give it a shot.
We also
Well,
talk.
and that's a lot of times with buyers, well, just give it a shot, just give it a shot.
Yeah, well, what's the worst, how many times have you heard this? Maybe
What's the
not
worst they
yourself.
can hear?
Say
Say
no.
no.
What's the worst they can do? Say no.
Say no.
Well, say, okay, yes, I agree.
The worst is
However,
you don't won't get the house at all.
If you,
How
if you do
bad
that,
do you want this house?
right, and however,
And if
yes.
it's a
one
good
thing
area,
is-
you may lose that, because what if you go into multiples and you're not
That's what I
being told
told
you're in
them.
multiples, because you don't have to be told you're in
You
multiples.
don't have to be
Right,
told, right?
my mindset, well, out of 10 lowball offers, 1 will say yes.
At the 10 local offers, one will say yes.
It's time to
Where's
start
he,
throwing
where's he
lowball.
get, where's he get his
I'm gonna
statistics?
staple him to the table and school him.
We can all beat them up.
Where does
We're
he
gonna go,
get his
you know, that
statistics?
airplane play movie, where like, you know, come down, run down, smack, and then we were stood in line and you just smack.
That was it, but I just quoted something from
Like,
Airplane.
oh my gosh, like that's what we
Don't
see.
call me
So
Shirley.
Don't
the
call
good
me
news is,
Shirley.
we're here to support you, don't worry, we'll get you through it.
I have a quick, I have a
That
quick
is awesome.
off subject thing to say. So I had an agent, her name's Lauren Patrick.
Okay.
She's new, I think she works for some weird brokerage I've never heard of.
Okay,
So yesterday, she sees that I request a showing for another property that she has in Parma. Sends me a message through Facebook. Doesn't call me, doesn't email me.
Through Facebook?
I guess she stalked me on Facebook, so that right there is a problem. That's problem number one. So she tells me I have a seller on the same street at this address. See if you can take your client to see it. So as she's talking, I pull it up and I'm like, okay, like the other property I'm taking my client to see is like 110, this one's 140. She goes, we haven't had any showings and it's been 100 and something days. So I'm looking at her.
So you're way overpriced.
Wait, I'm getting there. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, I look at the pictures while I'm talking to her and I'm like, why are you only accepting cash and conventional? She goes, what? And I was like, maybe you're not getting any showings because you're not accepting FHA. You know, what's the problem with it? She goes, it doesn't effing say FHA. She didn't even know. So she's had it sitting there for 100-something days and it doesn't say FHA. I said, well, my client's FHA. I can't take him to see that house. And she goes, son of a, this is it, her message,
That's
son of a
professional.
bitch. She goes, are you kidding me? And I'm like,
Whoa.
wait, here's me. I'm like,
She wasn't mad at Sophia.
yeah, but she was mad at
No,
herself.
but still.
We're
So-
not gonna teach
So
you
does
to
that
work
mean
with that.
that you will accept FHA?
Right, that's exactly what I said to her. I was,
Jessica,
wait a minute,
let's get to it.
wait, but being,
Jessica's learning a lot.
hold on. But the takeaway from this is that's 2 strikes already, okay? So being an uneducated agent, she says, I know it's priced at 140 and it sucks ass. She goes, but my client, I'll get him to take 115 or 120. If you bring that to me,
She
what a
disclosed
disjustice. She just did, she said, no, she said she will
Mark's
make
flipping over
him
here.
Oh my God.
take that.
Okay, wait,
How
she
can
probably
you-
only has a 6-month listing, right? And it's in how many days?
She's not on our.
Huh?
Be ready to mark it
100.
down.
But wait a minute, but she said, she said, I will make him
I
take
did
that.
that.
Yeah, but when you say to another agent, I will make him take that, and she tells you to lowball
She
it,
just
like,
disclosed.
what are
So-
you doing
so
for
you
your
realize-
Was
client?
this in writing on the Facebook or was this?
Okay, so
Oh.
let's.
That's why I just
I'm
gave you
not-
guys her name, like, pay attention to her, because you can get away with some stuff on real estate.
So what did
I'm
she
giving
do?
you the heads
That
up.
is
So-
so
let's keep it
Cool.
purposeful, let's keep it purposeful.
Oh my.
I was like in shock
What did she
yesterday.
do? By doing that sequence of events that she did, what exactly did she do?
She
First of all-
violated the ethics.
Yeah.
She violated fiduciary,
Kinds of.
like all day long.
Well,
All
and
day long.
she just
Okay.
put her client out there like,
Okay, what
I'm
else?
gonna make him take this low ball offer.
Yeah, what else did she do?
Well, yeah, obviously she spoke
She
for her client,
inaccurately,
she violated.
she didn't market the property right because
Nope.
she didn't meet the listing. What
And
else
then
did
she
she
just
do?
made herself look like
Dumb.
a terrible agent to the way she's talking.
So
Like,
she's
she's really
professional.
professional.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, do we
Pardon?
really
Is she
need that
a
headache on our
reporter?
team? Like, I
She
want a sick
doesn't
mark on
need-
her.
Well, I've-
I said, that's a good one to recruit, she needs help.
Even
Yeah,
if,
she does.
like, I haven't had any showings on this property. She goes, I don't know what's wrong. Like, I haven't had any showings and it's brand new inside. I was like, hold on, let me look online. So as I'm texting her, because she's sending it to me on Facebook, I'm looking at and the guy did a complete flip. Beautiful kitchen, granite countertops, everything. And I'm thinking, first of all, the area it's in,
It's
nothing
always
goes.
FHA.
Well, nothing goes for
Not
140.
always, but
Right.
a lot of Parma, you're gonna get FHA.
Right, but it's a little tiny bungalow
Right.
for 140 and the other houses in the area are doing
112.
110,
Yeah,
115.
119
So
might be
she
on that,
says,
depending on
it's
what streets.
140, but bring me 115 or 120 and I will make him take it. That is what kills me. Like, you can't
I'll
make
make him
yourself do anything.
Whose best interest does she have at heart?
The
Her
buyers,
Right.
not the seller.
And
I
realize
don't even
this,
know.
this
Oh,
is real
but
life.
she might not even have her own at heart because she didn't even market it right to
That's
sell
right, I
it.
didn't
Yeah.
know who she
Right.
had.
So I'm gonna go in today and see if she changed
The
it
buyer?
to add
Right.
FHA.
Today's point, should you be calling, should you
I
this,
don't
should you
know.
that?
I didn't look. I was
This
just
is
in
real
awe of
life.
the fact that
This
she was
happened
saying
in this
crazy
market
stuff.
center multiple times where people are getting yanked in by the real estate commission because a spotter called, did it, metered the performance, violated a couple things, and they got yanked in. Suspended, revoked, license taken away, the whole thing. That's real life. So whenever you hear somebody do crazy stuff like that, first of all, in this particular instance, evidently, it was just a very poor, weak agent.
Yeah.
However, if somebody does that and they try to lead you into it, they'll nail you.
Yeah.
Because this is a governmentally funded license that you carry.
Right.
So you've got to remain on point and professional. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm trying to simply warn you of it.
Well, my reply to her was, you should really market the property according to what sell the property according to what the market is doing. If you have a problem with that price, that's a discussion you need to have with your client. Don't just come at me and say, I was in shock that I will make him take this offer, like.
Sucks.
Wait, and the funny thing was, I did call my client and I said, look, there's a really nice house that I know.
Well, right.
I will take this offer.
Right.
So he was like, but.
Well, that's like,
That's why we don't do dual agency. That's exactly why.
well, that's
Well,
like
let-
that phone call I got. The guy was some agent from like outside of Medina or something, and he's like, I don't really want to have to come up to West 44th to show. Will you just show a house for this guy? Will you just? And then he's
Well,
like,
and do it,
because you do dual
but
agency,
do a
don't you?
referral.
Right. But then he goes, you do dual agency, don't you? And I'm like, no.
No, we don't, but I'm not happy to, when you send the contract over, I'll be happy to give the co-broke
Right.
2%, and I will take 5%.
Especially if it's an investor or something.
Yeah,
Use a
I'll
high
happy to give you
something.
2%
I had
if
to
I'm
look
gonna
him
do your
up.
job, if that's how you wanna do it.
Right, I'll do
Like,
your job.
I would be very
Hey,
nice.
I just thought he was a
It's
spotter or
really
something on the
but I
phone
would
when
be
he
like-
said that. I was like, no,
Okay.
no.
No, well, see, and that's.
Let me be nice and
What does that
direct.
mean
And
exactly?
remember,
Dual agency?
remember,
Dual agency is
Keller Williams
referral.
is almost the only one that doesn't do dual agency.
So both people are clients instead of client and customer, you have
Right.
all
Just
your
the way you worded it
fiduciaries
when I
always
was
to your
driving,
client,
so-
not to a customer.
Customer is courteous and honest. Little quick on those two things. So a customer is somebody that comes in and wants to buy one of our listings. We always represent the seller and the seller's best interest. So what you wouldn't do is if you were doing dual agency, it's priced at 150, but you know it's gonna be 120. This person comes in and says they do 115, then they go, well, if you offer 120, they'll take it.
Yeah.
Where if you were just representing them, that offer might come in more like 135, 140, if they really want it, because you're representing one party only.
Yeah.
That's just, it's just like.
And you're
the-
not
And we
telling-
still
when
do a
you're
good
represent-
job for our buyers, it's just a different relationship with them instead of
Yeah.
giving them full fiduciary and full confidentiality.
Yeah.
I gotta
You have
tell
to
you,
tell them that we represent the seller as our client. You know, we, don't tell me anything you don't want them to know.
Right.
it's a very
Always.
uncomfortable situation when you're working with one of your buyers and all of a sudden you have to show them one of your listings. Now all of a sudden, for that particular instance, they're no longer your client. It really.
Yeah.
it-
Well,
There
and
is an option.
if they would have already signed a buyer exclusive, you would have already explained that to them.
Right.
So when they go to see it.
Yeah, I'm glad that's in there.
And
now,
I
'cause it used to not
always
be.
say-
Still not comfortable.
And I always
Of course
say to them, you know
It's just
what,
weird.
we do this all the time, which I used to sell on my
It's
own
just
as a
weird
single
as you make
agent,
it.
over 65% of my own listings without another realtor.
Right.
I would always say, you know what, we do this all the time. However, you know, I'm, you know, giving you customer service. I'm still looking at your interest too. However, anything that is in the seller's interest, I'm not, unless they tell me, I can tell you,
Can't disclose.
I can't disclose it. I'm kind of like a middle person between the two of you, you know, so that's kind of how I relate that I am in the best interest of the seller. However, we do this all the time. I'm kind of like a middle person between you. And I'll tell you what they want to say. If you want me to tell them something, I'm going to tell them. But it has to be,
So I am taking my client to go see that house, just because I know now.
You should.
He can get double the
make sure you
house.
leave your card.
Well, and not
Great
only
to
that, but like, you know what, she kind of opened Pandora's box, and if your client's
Yeah.
gonna benefit from it, who do you
Heck yeah, you
represent?
represent your
You
client.
know, like, you
Hey.
dealt with a weak agent, they did some things they probably shouldn't have
Wow.
done.
Well, I sent him the listing and he goes, but it says 140, that's more than I'm approved for. I was like, trust and believe, you can get this house. he was like, how do you know? He was like, I love those countertops. I was like, as they can be yours. He was laughing at me on the phone. He was like, well, okay. So I'm like,
So is that agent really representing what the seller's really
Because-
doing?
well,
Are they
because-
really gonna drop down that? low?
Well,
you know what,
Maybe not.
if you-
he's
That's a
actually,
very good point.
well, wait a minute, he's
That's a very good
actually
point.
approved for 150, so technically he can afford it at full price.
ends up-
But if
yeah.
she's telling me to come in at that price, I'm not gonna make him pay full price for
And,
it.
and what about sending that offer in at 120 and having them counter back, and now all of a sudden, you told me I could get it at 120.
I'll be like, and she hasn't, wait a minute, she hasn't had any showings. And she hasn't had one offer, and he's putting pressure on her. So if I come in at that offer and I'm gonna be
And you
like.
have comps?
Yep, and I'm gonna be like, is he getting anything else? Cause if not, we're gonna take the other house down the street.
Yeah, nothing from nothing's nothing.
And I would go a little lower.
Oh, yeah. So, now that she told me that, I'm telling him like 112, like, let's try there first.
So what are you saying to your
There.
buyer, what are you saying to your buyer, because I had this recently, where a buyer wants to see a house that is way out of his price range,
Oh, I don't.
and.
Dave and I just had that discussion.
Okay, there's many
Yeah, we were
agents
talking
there,
about that.
out there, that are doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they
So
do it on
if-
television all
if
the time.
Cause I think they can, because
So
I
if
think they can
somebody
lowball
is
as
showing
well.
your listing, and you end up getting that lowball offer, because I just did this recently, I came right back to her and said, are they even approved for this home? Are they approved for what the list price is? She's like, well, no, they're only, and it was like 30,000 less they approved for.
Yeah, they're trying to
This
sneak
is only
it
a
in, I'm
one,
like,
a
oh, no.
119 price.
Yeah,
They're only
why are
approved
you
for like
running them?
80,000 or something
Yeah,
like that.
you're
Yeah.
right.
No,
And I'm
no,
like,
no.
so why are you showing this? Because they kept bugging me to show it. Well,
No.
it's professional.
No,
Yeah, well,
you have to
and-
train your clients to know that
Don't
we are
do it.
not, we
Don't
are
do
not
it.
going out of your realm, I'm sorry, I'll send them something like, Jamie, I'm like, dude, you can, no, this is not, you can't afford this is not within your price range, we're not going there, and the first thing he says is, but can I look, no, you can't look at it, so
Look
he
at it
says no.
online, look at the pictures.
Why-
That's as far as you're
why
getting,
look at it and
babe.
fall in love with it and know that you can't have it?
Exactly.
That's the biggest way to keep
Right.
somebody from showing them an overpriced home.
Well, and that's
Like-
part of my presentation.
Yeah,
Like, that's
me
why
too.
you get pre-approved, so we know exactly
parameters.
where,
So let's go,
Stay
what,
exactly where we
lane.
Yeah.
wanna be.
Oh,
And,
that's
and
right.
as far as even go toward your monthly number, so you know exactly what you're comfortable with. When you have that big number, what's that little number look like? And you know exactly where it meshes,
how to put those two.
how to put it together, and so, you
So
know,
what is-
maybe you're pre-approved for 150, but you're more comfortable at 120, because
That's
you're
my
more
guy.
comfortable with that payment.
Yeah,
So let's find that out, so we're not looking at things that are way too high, or we're not missing out things that are in your range that you think aren't. So let's find out those numbers
So
to
when you're
make
getting
sure we're
somebody
at the right
pre-approved,
spot.
when you're getting somebody pre-approved, how do you opt out?
Just what I just said.
What's the order that you opt out in?
Oh, pre-approved first,
Right, why?
because otherwise we're like shooting fish in the water. We
Should
don't
it-
know where,
should it
Yeah.
show up
Sellers
something,
prefer only pre-approved
something
buyers.
like this?
we don't,
That's one.
I like that
Or,
one.
if we get you pre-approved, we know exactly where you are. It would break my heart if you could afford a nicer home than what you think you can, and an opportunity would pass us by. However, would not want to show you something that is out of your range and have you fall in love with it and break your heart.
well, and the
Now,
other thing
doesn't that sound like
is, a lot of
contradiction?
It'll
times,
save
a
you
lot
enough
of
time.
times, people fall in love with the first house. I very rarely show more than 6 homes before somebody purchases. If you're not pre-approved, we go out and we see there's first 4 and you've fallen in love. I can't write an offer if we don't have the pre-approval.
Somebody's gonna get.
I don't
your
think
And
first-
this
anybody out that's
market-
not.
It's not gonna be there the next day once you do
And
get
some of these
pre-approved.
lenders are not like quick at pre-approving. They're not.
So do you show the best house
Days.
first or the least favorite house first? Which one do you show first?
The best, because then that's their measure.
Finally, we're there. Always the best house first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we went way over, but that was wildly useful.
Can I say one thing before we close up?
Certainly.
So, you know, when I originally started this team and thought, because I didn't want my name to be on anything, okay? And I thought, I'm like, what is a good name? And then Chris and I were brainstorming. It's like, well, you know, because I said what I wanted the team to kind of look like. And that's where the dream team came from. Is if you look up the definition of the dream team, it's a highly skilled expert in whatever their field they're in. That's why we're here today learning all this. Because you can look around in any office, almost anywhere. I mean, some this, but obviously ours isn't. But this is how we become experts, doing this and sitting here. And that's why, you know, some people that are on the team or have been on the team, whatever, may have gotten upset or whatever because we say, you know, we want you to plug in. This is why we want people to plug in. Because if you can't be an expert if you're not plugging in. You know, if you're a brand new agent and you're not plugging in and stuff, I mean, how do you become that expert? And things change, which we're seeing right now, a ton of change.
Over
This is how we
months.
learn, and by, you know, basically, this is a big mastermind right now.
You don't wanna end up
And the
being
more
that.
we mastermind, the better expert you become and stay ahead. I've always said, I want us as a dream team to stay ahead of the market. We wanna see, hey, this is what's coming, guys. We're gonna see more lowball offers, we're gonna probably see a lot more promissory notes. We need to be the professionals and be an expert.
But when I countered on that promissory note, I crossed it off.
Well, and I'm gonna say that on Tuesday, please remind me, I'll write it down. I'd like to kind of do some objection handlers with the promissory notes, because that concerns me. Because that's up there with no earnest money until after inspection, no.
Oh, yeah, I crossed that off too, that
muddies
was on the
that stuff
offer.
up, and especially for our newer agents that are, and those of us that have been around, it could be refined a bit, like we're not out of the curve here, including myself. I think it's important for us to kind of get that objection handled, because as Betty mentioned, we're gonna start to see a lot more of that. So the next Tuesday, we're going to go with mobile objection handlers and promissory note objection handlers. So please put your thoughts together, bring it with you, and then we can kind of capitalize on that. I think that's a good use of our time,
And
yes.
that's
And
great,
as-
because Wednesday, we have our new lender coming in.
We do have a new lender, in fact,